Brought to you by Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey.
We're here with Jon Bramnick, who is the Assembly Republican leader. Look, we're at the Verizon breakfast, ready to go on the 79th annual chamber walk to Washington. You look like you're ready to get on that train.
I want to have some fun, and I want to talk to people because, we do press releases against each other, but we don't spend that much time with each other. So that's why this is good.
You look like very casual. Since you're in a casual mood, dressed like this, let's talk some issues. Just talk to your counterpart, the Speaker of the Assembly, Vincent Prieto. He was talking about the minimum wage should be up to $15, right? It's $8 and I believe 38 cents an hour. He wants to move it up along with the President of the Senate. You're shaking your head to $15 an hour. You say, Assemblyman?
Bad policy in New Jersey now. Let's make this really clear. Everyone understands we're willing to raise minimum wage a reasonable amount. But when you make it $15, you're making New Jersey less competitive with other states. Are you telling me now's the time to make us less competitive, where we want to keep businesses here and we want to attract businesses, have them come here, and you're raising the minimum wage? I mean, it's just bad policy. Look, it's a nice idea. You want to help everybody out, but it's bad business right now for New Jersey.
But Assemblyman, there are people who cannot afford to live in this ridiculously expensive state, and this is different than another part of the country where it's not as expensive, So why not just accept that and just increase the minimum wage over a period of years?
Well, first you have to have companies here, and you have to keep companies here. You could have a $15 minimum wage, but if you continue to reduce the number of jobs here, I don't think that's the smart way to go. So the question is, really, it's completely different sides of the aisle here. I think it's really bad policy at this time, and I hope they don't do it.
Okay, so Transportation Trust Fund, running out of money on the last day of June. That's the fund to pay for the roads and bridges and mass transit projects. How is that fund going to finally get the money it needs as it runs out of money to fix the potholes, the roads, the bridges, mass transit, without a gas tax? The governor says it's not a crisis. You say it is or not?
Well, it's not a crisis today, but it will be a crisis.
So was the governor wrong?
Well, no, he's right. Right now, it's not a crisis because people are saying the roads are falling apart. Well, we're spending the same amount of money now.
Why wait for a crisis?
Well, because that's how government works. There's 4 leaders and there's a governor, and I can tell you right now this will be solved. And we will keep the roads open, we will keep the bridges up. Now, when politicians all get together and they begin to compromise, which we all should do, it will get done. So don't lose any sleep over this one, Steve.
John, respectfully, you always say that we're going to get this done. But I will tell you, there are more and more folks who are questioning if the governor is dead set against raising any taxes, particularly a gas tax. The last time a gas tax was raised was 1987 in New Jersey. We have one of the lowest in the nation. If he's not going to do it, then where would the other money come from to put in the Transportation Trust Fund?
He never said that. He actually said everything was on the table and he wanted tax fairness. So
define that.
Tax fairness is, why do we have to raise a tax and not lower other taxes? We need to send a message to people in New Jersey. Yes, we consider a gas tax, but let's lower some other taxes in this state so we make this a place that appears to be on its way to affordability. So governor said everything's on the table, so you might have missed that part.
You think he's open to it?
He said that. He said everything's on the table. When this guy says everything's on the table, you can take that to the bank. I said I will, despite that Republicans have yelled at me, I would consider a gas tax, but let's send some messages about some other lower other taxes. We will get it done.
And the estate tax, New Jersey, one of 2 states in the nation other than Maryland with 2 death taxes. You die in New Jersey, it's the inheritance tax and the estate tax. We were talking to the Assemblyman just a while back at the Business and Industry Association event, and I'm going to give him a chance to update the situation. How closer are we, Assemblyman, to coming to an agreement on either reducing or eliminating this estate tax?
I think it'd be part of a package on the gas tax.
Talk about the impact it would have on New Jerseyans.
Well, call an accountant and ask an accountant what they tell individuals with large businesses in this state or farms. They tell them, you can't afford to die here, you got to move. And there's a lot of states that are very competitive, similar to the federal government, with a very high threshold before you pay taxes. So people are told, don't die here, we need to change that.
Okay, so you believe that's going to happen. But what do you say to those who argue that only affects those who have an estate of 600,000 plus? That's a very small 10 or 11% of the population. What about the masses of New Jerseyans who don't fall into that category? What about tax fairness for them?
Here we go again. We got to keep businesses here. Without businesses and revenue, we can't help anybody. So you want to chase all the business owners out? Well, be my guest. But those people won't have a $15 an hour job, and they won't have a job, and will continue to have less revenues. Take your choice.
Last question. The governor's back. What impact do you believe the governor being back in the State House, particularly after his budget address, will have on productivity and getting the important things done in this state, particularly as it relates to the pension crisis in this state regarding the hundreds of thousands of public employees who are concerned about it, as well as the rest of us who may have to pay for it?
Well, first, this is like my father coming home from work at the end of the day and my brother getting in trouble. He comes home and he's got the megaphone and he yells at those people who are doing things that are bad. And I sit there and say, well, you know, I'm so sorry you're in trouble. One of those things are you can't put mandatory spending in the Constitution. That's not what the Constitution was for. It's bad public policy, and the governor called out the Democrats on that.
To be clear, the president of the Senate, Steve Sweeney, and some other Democrats have said, listen, we haven't paid our fair share. Let's put it in the Constitution, mandate that the state pay their percentage, the amount they're supposed to pay to public employees. The governor said it was a bad idea. You say it's a bad idea. But finally, Assemblyman, if that doesn't happen, how can we trust you guys to do what you were supposed to do? Because you keep saying there's not enough money to do it.
The governor just in his budget put $1.9 billion in to the pension. The bottom line is it's not one or the other. We'll continue to fund the pensions, but we can't have a constitutional mandate. We do not know what crisis might hit. We need options as government leaders, and that closes out all options.
Thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you, Steve.
My name is Dr. Jon Bramnick. I'm actually the medical director of the Interventional Institute here at Holy Name Medical Center. Peripheral arterial disease actually is extremely common. It's one of the forms of hardening of the artery. As interventional radiologists, we perform minimally invasive image-guided procedure. Generally, the procedures we do are alternatives to what would otherwise be major surgery. Almost 80% of those patients can avoid amputation if they're referred for us for these sort of procedures.
Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey. 1-877 Holy Name. Healing begins here.
Also brought to you by the New Jersey Education Association, MagnaCare, and by New Jersey Sharing Network,